Let's face it, running a real estate brokerage is hard. There's increased competition for agents, increasing pressure on agent splits. The disruptors are coming. Thinning margins, reduced profitability, increasing costs. Brokers, owners, managers are constantly being told that recruiting will fix everything. Well, I'm here to share with you today that recruiting is totally overrated. Stopping agent attrition is the number one most important to do in order to grow your business. The truth is, most broker owners just don't know how fast their business will grow when they fix this single problem. They blame all of their problems on the disruptors, companies with better commission splits, and increased competition in the marketplace, etc. The only solution that is being presented is to recruit more, which, when you have a leak in the ship, just doesn't work. So today I'm going to share with you 6 reasons why recruiting is overrated and what you can do about it so that you can exponentially grow your company over the next few years. So who am I? Well, I'm Philip Gagnon, and I've worked with brokers, managers all over the U.S. and in 18 different countries. I've got hands-on experience running one of the largest real estate companies in the country. I've worked within the mortgage industry, creating loan pricing tools, helping build relationships with agents. And I've spent years servicing master franchise operations, individual franchisees, coaching agents, and I'm now a consultant that works with brokers, owners, and managers all over the country and all over the world. So number one, recruiting agents to a problem will only make it worse. See, if you bring agents into your company and you begin to tax a system that's already having issues, i.e. losing agents, it will only cause more agents to leave. You will then have to double down your recruiting efforts, and that will result in even more agents leaving. And you likely won't get another shot at those agents that leave. They are probably gone forever. And by spending too much time focusing only on recruiting agents, you will inevitably neglect your existing agents, and that will cause them to leave. Reason number 2 is that recruiting is expensive. So you've got marketing costs, you've got investment of your time or your staff's time, you've got the actual cost of the meeting, of lunch and coffee and whatever, incentives that you offer to the agent that can take months or years to recoup, onboarding, training, setup, account creation, orientation, etc. All of this costs money, and not all of it shows up on a P&L. See, the 2 most expensive things on a broker's P&L usually are occupancy cost. That's, rent, utilities, all that kind of stuff. And then number 2 is payroll. And it might just be you, or it might be you and a couple of employees, but the time that your staff spends recruiting or helping to recruit is costing money, but it doesn't show up as a line item on the P&L. Number 3, losing agents is even more expensive than recruiting. See, keeping an existing agent is far cheaper than recruiting a new one. And what shows up on the P&L when an agent leaves is lost production and company dollar, and that's on average between $10,000 and $20,000 for one agent per year. But there's so many other real costs that happens when you lose an agent that don't ever show up on the P&L, like time lost on training, onboarding, offboarding, etc. Agents might sandbag business to take with them. There's going to be disruption to other agents within the office or the company when an agent leaves. Agents might take company-generated leaves with them, and other agents in the marketplace are watching you and watching these agents leave your company. So what is the story that those agents are telling about you when they leave? What is the lost opportunity cost in terms of future recruiting? When you factor all this together, you could easily add up to a loss of $40,000 or even $50,000 just for one lost agent. Reason number 4, what if the new recruits don't fit? See, what happens if an agent doesn't thrive? And who at your company is watching to see if they are or aren't thriving? Recruiting existing productive agents doesn't always guarantee future production. So how does it look if an existing agent comes to your company and doesn't get what they thought they were getting? And what story will they be telling to the other agents in the marketplace? What happens if there's a culture clash with the existing agent base? What disruption will that cause to the rest of the office or company? You don't want to become an agent graveyard where agents go to die, or their business goes to die. Number 5, you can't out-recruit a hole in the bucket. See, agents will leave their brokerage because they no longer see the value that they joined for, and we'll talk more about this later. But if agents are walking in the front door but running out the back door, it's a never-ending cycle of more and more recruiting, which, as we've seen, is a losing financial proposition. Reason number 6, why recruiting is overrated is because most people don't like it and are not good at it. See, nobody opened a brokerage because they said, "Oh, I wish I could recruit more." Office managers are already overwhelmed without even the burden of recruiting being put on them. And you can't do everything at once. The more hats you have to wear, the less proficient you are at any one of them. So you need to focus, you need to prioritize. But the question is, what do you focus on and what do you prioritize? So you need to focus on retaining your existing agents because that is the key to growth. And you need to have a stable platform or foundation to recruit these agents too. You need to be able to automate these retention efforts so then you and your team can focus on scaling and actually build and keep momentum instead of moving 2 steps forward and 1 step back. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to just pause for a second. I want to show you the real world tangible dollars that recruiting and retention are costing and not costing. So let's go with some assumptions for a second, just to do some math. And I'm going to show you the math here so you don't have to write it down. Let's just say that on average in your company or in this test company, that the average agent's company dollar is $10,000 per year. So company dollar is gross profit. That is what the company has to pay bills after we've paid the agent split. Let's just say it's $10,000 per agent per year on average in this company. Let's just say the size of this company is 100 agents. So we've got 100 agents in the office, and they on average are $10,000 in company dollar. That means that we've got $1 million to pay our bills with. Now let's just say in this test company that right now we're breaking even. So we've got $1 million to pay our bills with. Our bills are $1 million. So everybody's paid, taxes are paid, everything's good. But at the end of the year, there's zero money left over. So let's talk about agent tenure for a second. Average agent tenure with this company is 4 years. And we're going to use 4 years because NAR does a study, and they've done this study for a number of years. And on average, agents will switch companies every 4 years. And again, this is an NAR study. And for I don't know how many years in a row, it's been basically four and change. So that means that if we have 100 agents in our test company and agents will stay for on average of 4 years, that means that we're going to lose, again, on average, 25 agents per year. Now, for the sake of this conversation, we're also going to assume that we are recruiting 25 agents per year. So let's look at this as an example. So we lose 25 agents a year, but we're recruiting 25 agents a year. That means our net recruiting is 0 per year. So that means that in 4 years, we'll still have the same 100 agents, and our average company dollar per agent is going to stay at 10,000, which means that we've got $1 million in company dollar per year. So this means in 4 years, we've made still $0. So that's our test case. Your company may already be making money. So let's just assume that that's the baseline of the conversation of where we're going to start this. Let's see what happens when we can stretch the average retention from 4 years, which is what the NAR study is, to stretch it from 4 to 5. So again, just 1 year more. So that means that on average, we're going to lose 20 agents per year and not 25. We still recruit the same 25 agents, which means our net recruiting per year is +5. So that means that in 5 years, our active agent count will be 125 instead of 100. Our average company dollar stays the same at $10,000, but because we have 25 more agents, we're now at $1.25 million. So this means that because we're break even before, that we now have $250,000 extra in profit. Now let's take this to another example and stretch it to 7 years, right? So instead of being 4, we're now at 7 years. So this means the average, the agents that we lose per year is 14. Every year we still recruit the same 25 agents. That means we're plus 11 new agents a year. That means in 7 years, our active agent count is 177 agents, almost double. Our average company dollar stays at 10,000, but now our total profit at the end of year 7 is $770,000, $750,000 in profit. So let's look at this on a graph because, sometimes visually seeing this, it helps kind of break this up. So let's take a baseline, right? So 100 agents, and that's the red line, that stays there for 7 years. If we can stretch our retention to 5 years, we can see that it grows and we're up to, 135 or so agents after year 7. And if we take that even a step further, we're at almost 180 agents after year 7. And this is not through mergers and acquisitions. This is just by focusing on retention and doing what we've been doing on the recruiting front. Let's look at what this does to total company dollar. So again, the red line is our baseline. Total company dollar each year is $1 million. But now we can see that 5 year, it starts to grow to 1.35 million after 7 years. And we're at almost 1.8 million after 7 years of total company dollar per year. Now let's look at total profit. So this is going to be the sum of all of the profits. So let's say starting in 2021, we start with a solid retention strategy. We then keep our recruiting efforts and maybe even build on it a little tiny bit. But let's just say for the sake of conversation, we keep our recruiting efforts the same. If we look at what our profit is going to be in 2027, which is 7 years from next year, we're going to have $0 left over. Now, let's say we save every penny that we make starting in 2021 above what our break even is. Well, you can see that we start to get a little bit of exponential growth, and we end up with about $1.5 million in 2027. I mean, that right there, you could retire off of that. You sell your company, you got $1.5 million in the bank, you're doing pretty good. Now, what happens if we stretch this to 7 years? Well, at the end of 2021, we've got 110, 330, and you can see this grows and grows and grows. And by 2027, we now have $3 million in the bank. That's all just for us. Now, obviously, you're going to have to pay some taxes on it. You may have some incremental increases in cost and whatever, but basically what this illustrates is that by focusing on retention first, we can make a substantial more amount of money than if we just keep trying to recruit and recruit and recruit and not paying attention to what's happening inside the company. So this is Bo Keenan. He's 3DataPulse customer. He's the president, broker owner of Dixon Realty. And he says it's not a question if you'll have a return on investment. It's more the question of just how much your ROI will be. In the first quarter of 2020, Bo and the team at Dixon Realty were able to grow their revenue by 20% over the first quarter of 2019, thanks in part to 3DataPulse and using that system. So how do we retain agents? Well, the first thing you got to do, you got to obsess about delivering value. So that means every time you talk to an agent, you need to deliver value. And that can feel overwhelming and it can feel like a lot, but if you've got a system, if you've got something to help you, retaining agents and delivering that value is not so much work. Second thing is you've got to solicit feedback, even if it's uncomfortable. If you don't know how you're doing, if you don't know what your customers, your agents are thinking and saying about you, it's impossible to get it better. And let's face it, we could all get better at what we do. Number 3 is you've got to reinforce that agent's decision to join the company every day. If they forget why they're there, they're going to start wondering why they're paying what they're paying, and then they will leave. So we've been working on a research project with the State University of New York, and we've been interviewing agents and talking to them about why they leave their brokerages and why they join the next company. The first and most shocking thing that we've learned is that they never leave or join a company about money. It's never about money. If it was about money, they would have never joined that company in the first place because there's always somebody cheaper. There's always somebody that's charging less in the marketplace. Even if you're currently the cheapest, there's going to be somebody tomorrow that's going to be cheaper than you. What it is about and why they join and why they leave is about the value. What are they getting versus what are they paying? So I'm not a big baseball fan. Not that I have anything against it, just not my thing, never really got into it. If somebody tries to sell me a baseball bat for $100, I'm not going to pay it. Now the bat may be totally worth $100. It's just not my thing. And I'm not going to spend my $100 on that. So when you sit with your agents, when you recruit your agents, it's so important to make sure that they see the value in what it is that you have to offer above and beyond whatever it is that it costs. Now, the other thing that's interesting that came out of these interviews is the environment of which they work. Now, as you all know, being an agent is crazy and hectic and it's tough and you have good days and you have bad days. But one of the biggest reasons why agents will leave a company and join another company is because of bad environments, whether that be toxic, problematic, lots of drama. And what we've heard time and time again is that agents will happily leave a toxic environment for what they perceive or hope is a better environment and take a pay cut in doing it. So at 3DataPulse, with our automated algorithms, we can predict the early signs of agent attrition and tell you who you need to reach out to today. So instead of wondering who to contact and what to say, the system will tell you who to contact and give you dozens of prompts for topics to discuss with your agents. This means that you spend less time working on retention, but with more focus and better results. Your agents will tell you what they need with their production numbers, their words, and most importantly, their actions and behaviors. All you have to do is listen and pay attention, and 3 Data Pulse will help you with that. See, this software is designed to make consistent coaching easier as well and take the guesswork out of retention. This is an excerpt from Florida Realtor Magazine from September 2020. This is Anna Marie Ellison of ERA King, and she talks about in this article how 3 Data Pulse helped her grow her agent's business by 20% in 2019, year over year. So if you'd like to learn more about how you can create a culture of attraction to your company and stop randomly losing agents, let's schedule a call to see if this is a fit for you and your team. You can reach us at 3datapulse.com, or here is the link where you can access my personal calendar and you can schedule a time for us to chat there. So contact us today and let's get you started on the path to growth and increased profitability. Thank you so much.